Welcome back, everybody, to Untethered Minds.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Was that singing?
Welcome back.
I don't know if our new listeners...
It started to be singing. Yeah.
Do our new listeners know the singing days? I don't think they do.
It's been a while since we did one of those, huh? We used to start every single episode singing.
And then we're like, why do we do that?
I don't know. That's why we...
Or like we'd say
we're
we're officially back. And Tavis is like, why do we always say officially? Like, why is that official?
Why is it an official thing?
So anyways, hello. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Let's see. Last time we talked was Israel.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, thank you so much for the love, support, everything we've gotten these past couple months. It's been really nuts in the comment sections as far as the Israel-Palestine thing.
Oh yeah.
It's been absolutely insane.
We got some heat. We've definitely gotten some heat about the whole thing from all sides. But honestly, at the end of the day, like, my opinion isn't any different than when I recorded last.
Right. In fact,
I feel better.
If anything, I have more resolve in my standing than before. It's crazy how many people just blatantly buy whatever narrative that they're being fed, regardless of the side. Because there's people on the Israel side that are just buying into whatever the narrative is.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to, like we always say, use your eyes, use your brain, use that beautiful brain that you were given to use logic, reasoning, and cross-reference things and come to your own conclusion on what is going on.
Yeah.
You know, and the biggest thing is, and this is kind of what I just started telling people about it, that we'd be debating, is at the end of the day, none of us really know what's going on.
Yeah.
Unless you are there witnessing it firsthand.
Right.
And have all the information, that is the only way to understand what is truly going on there.
Yeah.
Because the rest of us are just seeing news feeds.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I think that's why we really took like such a stand. I don't want to get into it all again, but like took a stand very much in the terms of like good versus evil with the whole thing. Like no matter what the daily bombings look like or whatever, like ultimately like Hamas is evil and Israel is on the side of God and light.
It's like that political cartoon I showed you today. It was John Kerry sitting in between Israel and Hamas, and Hamas's demands were all Jews to be exterminated. Mm-hmm. And John Kerry's like, can you at least meet them halfway?
Yeah.
That's kind of what it's like.
So anyways, without hatching up all of that again, real quick shout out, because we'll probably use this for social media. We're wearing our merch today.
Yeah,
we're wearing our merch.
Our new line.
You can't see it behind my mic, but this is the Well, it says UM on it, but
Untethered Minds.
Untethered Minds.
You didn't know.
It's our Only Two Genders hoodie in baby pink.
Yeah. And we also have it in baby blue.
Yep.
Because those are the two genders.
Right. So I'm in Miss Pink, Only Two Genders, and then Tavis is wearing our
Truth.
Yes.
Truth hoodie.
Yes.
It says Truth on the front, embroidered in our purple. Our flagship purple. There you go.
Flagship purple.
And on the back it has a brain that's mono? What? I don't know. Black and white.
Monochrome, yeah.
It's and it has indoctrinated written over it. And then a whole bunch of color, kind of bursts of color around it, and then that's the truth, right? Because when you're indoctrinated, like we all are, you know, because we're all brainwashed since birth, you see the world in a sense in black and white. And once you start seeing the lies and the deceit that you've been spoon-fed your whole entire life, it's like seeing the world in color for the first time. You see the world for what it truly is.
Yeah. So this was part of our last collection that we dropped on Black Friday. Yeah. And
thank you to all those that made Black Friday a good day.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And also, do you want to talk about the code embedded somewhere in this episode?
Yeah. So we're going to embed a code and this episode for our merch on the website. It'll be hidden. We're not going to tell you where it is.
Because we don't know when we're going to talk about it either.
I'll just say it whenever I remember to say it.
Like, yo, here's the code.
Right. But that way, for our listeners, they get a little special treat that, just the people that follow us on socials don't.
Just start dropping Easter eggs in the episodes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Well.
Oh, we got some good news too before we jump into it.
Oh my gosh. Yes. The last 2 months have been a freaking whiplash.
Yeah.
How are we in December? Okay. Please proceed.
So every year, Turning Point does this huge event here in Arizona called America Fest. It's a big conference. Pretty much all of the prominent America First conservatives will be there. And we got approved for press passes.
Woo woo.
Woo. Yeah, pretty excited about that.
Very excited.
That's our first big event.
Yeah.
Doing it as press.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm stoked. It's like all
so
of our
excited.
Favorite people in one room. Yeah. I'm like, I'm giddy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we'll be there from December 16th through the 19th. Is that
correct?
Yeah, those are the days. It's in Phoenix. We fortunately live within the area, so woohoo, we get to go. Mm-hmm. So anyways, very, very excited. We'll make lots of good content and features from there. Fingers crossed we get to talk to like Vivek.
That would be interesting. I am goal.
And Tucker Carlson.
Okay,
of course.
So I have to talk about the Vivek aspect real quick.
Go ahead.
So ever since Vivek popped on the scene, I raised an eyebrow. He is so reminiscent of Obama in 2008. Jump out of nowhere, says all the right things, get a lot of people to buy into the message. And then we saw that clip the other day of someone that chopped up a bunch of Obama speeches and a bunch of Vivek speeches, and they're uncanny. It is.
They're repeating the same lines,
it's ridiculous. Right. But see, here's Vivek's problem. Trump's running.
Right.
It doesn't matter who you are, what your message is.
No.
If Trump's running.
Right.
Trump's running. You're running for VP.
Yeah. At best.
At best.
At absolute best.
But a lot of people think that's what he's vying for.
Yeah.
My question, we got lots of questions for him. But I think it'll be really interesting to get an interaction with him.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and he's very much somebody who's like been okay with confronting rumors and things. Mm-hmm. And so.
Correct, because he's been asked questions before.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I don't necessarily I don't want to discredit him in that way, but it would be interesting to be like, hey, have you seen this video? Like, what's your response to that? Like, why are you almost word for word, verbatim saying the same things Obama did? What's your take on that?
Right.
Like, not attacking you. It's just weird.
Right.
It's a little uncanny.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I would approach it on the aspect of like where we're coming from. Like, look, man, we want to trust you.
Right.
Because you say all the right things.
But we know better.
Well, we recognize patterns.
Don't trust blindly.
we recognize patterns. Trust but verify.
Yeah.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Trust but verify.
And I think he would appreciate that.
Right. If his whole thing is truth. By the way, ours doesn't have a period behind it. His does. Thank you very much. We dropped our merch, and then he dropped some truth merch. No.
We're like, shoot.
No. He's ripping off the little guy.
Okay. I think we have to move into this episode now.
Now we do. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Whew. So this has
is
been
a good one.
This has been a very, very long time coming, this episode.
Yeah.
Remember we came up with the idea and you're like, oh my gosh.
I've been salivating to do this for a while.
And this is gonna be like so much information, y'all. Like this is another dive into one of our series. Mm-hmm. This is gonna be a big old 4-parter.
Yeah, 4 parts.
But like the whole point is, obviously we hope you listen to everyone in order because it'll make the most sense that way. You'll get the most out of everything that way. But if you're just interested in certain aspects of what we're talking about, like we want these episodes to stand alone as well. So come back and join us in the coming weeks as we post the next 2, 3, 4 parts. And yeah.
But that's the thing too. I mean, they can watch them stand alone and be perfectly fine and get tons of information that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, if you watch them all in order, it makes so much sense of what is planned for pretty much every single person on the planet.
It's just building on everything, episode over episode.
It's yeah. But see, this is why I like this topic, and this is a scary topic. I mean, it really is.
It takes like everything.
It's end of the world type stuff. But the reason I'm so excited about it is because the better we can deliver the message of what they truly have planned by dissecting all their own paperwork. Like all the stuff we're going to be saying is from their own website.
Right.
Like this is all things that they say that they have planned. And then we're just going to dissect a little bit more of the underlying meaning of what that is.
Right.
But I'm excited for the fact of being able to get that information out there because the more people that know about it, the more something can be done about it.
Yeah.
Right. Truth needs to spread.
Right. We're just kind of unfolding all the realizations we've already had.
Correct.
For all of you.
Yep.
So let's dive into part 1 of Agenda 2030, the series. We're calling this one, quote unquote, Build Back Better.
Build back better.
Correct.
For who?
So, for who? That's the big question. We were taking notes about this, and we got, I guess what you would say, to the very beginnings of all of this happening, or like how things went off course a little bit. So, to explain, you were talking about that the election had to be rigged to get Biden into office to make this happen, right?
Correct.
Had Hillary won, like they intended, this would have all been a little more fast-tracked.
No, if Hillary would have won, right now it's behind schedule.
Right.
Their whole plan for all of this stuff is behind schedule because the original plan was 2021, right? But with Trump being elected in 2016, it was all backpedaled because Trump undid a lot of the stuff that they did in preparation for this.
Yeah.
And so they, if Hillary was in, it would have been a gradual descent into this where it's like putting the lobster in the water, right? You don't boil it first. You boil it with him in there because then he won't try to escape. It's the same concept. But Trump got in there and kicked over the bucket of water.
Yeah.
So now they got to fill it back up. Right. And so, so that's why 2020 happened the way that it did. And that's why it was so incredibly chaotic.
With the elections.
Was because they needed to get Trump out.
Yeah.
And they needed to cause so much hate and so much division that you blamed everything on the orange man because he was president.
They staged an insurrection at the Capitol.
They staged an insurrection. They staged a pandemic. They literally staged a worldwide pandemic to steal an election. And look, Event 201, go look it up. I don't have time to go into it right now. But Event 201, go look it up. This was planned 6, 7, 8 weeks before the first outbreak was reported. And then what happens if everything's shut down and it's election time? You have to mail in your ballots. Right? How can you verify that your mailed-in ballot made it there and was counted the way it should have been?
Right.
You can't. And what about all the spikes at 3 o'clock in the morning with people bringing in suitcases of ballots and running the same ones over and over and over again?
They thought for sure that COVID was going to knock Trump off the map completely. And
no, it didn't.
No one would vote for him again. And then they were like, oh, shoot. Nothing's changed. Everybody has still voted for him. What's next? So they rigged the election, and then they went to recertify that election on January 6th, and it wasn't going the way they wanted it to.
Right.
They had to stage this insurrection.
Yeah, during the certification, while they were doing the votes for the certification, there was enough votes to deny the certification and do a recount. There was enough votes, but the insurrection gave them every single bit of motive that they needed to push the vote through.
And everything is so transparent about the insurrection now with all the video that's come out.
And you're going to sit there and tell me that, first of all, Biden alone got the most votes of any other president of all time. But at the same time, so did Trump?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You're going to say it was record-setting turnout that more than there are adults that are able to voted. Kind of, man.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
And you saw the rallies, you saw the parades. Like,
Oh, yeah.
nobody's actually.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Katie Hobbs here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all rigged. Don't go back and listen to our elections episode.
Yeah. Speaking of which, she
but it's all rigged.
She tweeted something the other day saying she's still on Twitter, but she tweeted something the other day saying that she is doing everything in her power to make sure our elections are secure. And I just simply comment, our elections are secure as our border. Which, by the way, if you don't know, Katie Hobbs has just opened the floodgates. Absolutely open the floodgates.
She's like enemy number one in Tavis's brain.
Oh, yeah. I hate Katie Hobbs. Man, anytime, I wish I could be around her with just like a big old bag of tomatoes. You know, like rotten ones, and just throw all. Right. Boo. Yeah. Shame. Shame. She deserves it.
She's the worst. She's the governor of Arizona.
What happened to public ridicule of politicians?
What happened to politicians not being paid off by cartel members? Okay. Yeah. So that's the basis for making sure.
That's our intro to Katie Hobbs.
All of this has led into Biden's America. And I think the big goal is for people to think that the country is falling to absolute crap because of the incompetency in office, instead of it being like an actual like strategized, manipulative plan to get us to where they want us to be.
Well, yeah, but I mean, for people like us, that's way too obvious.
Right. But most people are not on this playing field.
That's true. Yeah.
Most people will go, oh, Biden.
81%.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's the dementia. It's just because he can't. Okay, Biden's not actually doing anything. Let's be real. He's not pulling the strings. People are pulling his strings.
Yeah. I can almost literally see the strings.
Seriously. You've seen like his ears getting all moved in weird positions and
going Roomba mode when he's leaving the
Roomba mode.
when he's leaving the stage.
Okay. So all of this led us into what is now Biden's America. Mm-hmm. Whoever's pulling the strings, let's be real. And the past few years have been incredibly rocky, to say the least. And so in this episode, we are going to break down a lot of the things that have been happening within this presidency, really a lot within the last year.
Yeah.
Just to kind of point out, like, where they're pushing us with all these initiatives. So let's start with a familiar topic. We talked about this in a past episode after East Palestine happened, and then nothing happened there except for Pete Buttigieg showing up in his fancy little boots doing a really bad press conference. Yeah. So,
and then saying he lost his train of thought.
Oh my gosh. So let's just start there. So everything after East Palestine just like got really, really weird. East Palestine, Ohio, on February 3rd, 141 loaded cars, 20 containing hazardous materials was derailed. There was 100-foot flames, so many toxic chemicals spilled, ruined the water supply, just a freaking mess. But everybody was like, no, it's fine. Go out and breathe the air, drink the water. It's okay.
Yeah, okay. Like the same day.
Yeah. Completely ridiculous. None of it made any sense at all. So then February 13th, 2023, a Union Pacific freight train hit an 18-wheeler in Splendora, Texas. February 14th, a day later, truck carrying nitric acid in Tucson, Arizona fell over and spilled out all kinds of corrosive material. On the 16th of February, Norfolk Southern train was derailed near Detroit, Michigan. Some of them were carrying liquid chlorine. On February 16th, a 5-acre warehouse fire erupted at a plant nursery in Kissimmee, Florida. There were so many plastic pots melted, and you know all those chemicals that get released from that. Mm-hmm. February 20th, there was a massive explosion at a metal plant in Bedford, Ohio. This was a mass casualty event. On the 20th of February, Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky were shutting down their water intakes because there was butyl acrylate in the Ohio River. On the 24th of February, this was so weird, mysterious white dust blankets in West Virginia, and Maryland. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. Like the dust in the sky? It was so odd. On the 25th of February, 3 separate Pemex facilities in Mexico and Texas saw explosions. So these are gas facilities, gasoline. Same day, Norfolk Southern, another one of their trains, derailed in Lexington, North Carolina. On the 28th of February, a train carrying propane derailed in Manatee County, Florida. On the 4th of March, a Norfolk Southern train, very familiar, that name keeps coming up. One of them derailed in Springfield, Ohio, which downed power lines and outages in the area. On the 16th of March, in Anacortes, Washington, there was a diesel spill of over 2,500 gallons of diesel. The 30th of March in Raymond, Minnesota, there was an ethanol spill where 4 cars burst into flames. On April 15th, I'm tired, 2023, in Rockwood, Maine, a train caught fire after derailing, causing a small forest fire. And y'all, that is not the end of the list. There are so many other events that have happened since. I mean, this was just the spring, but everything got very quiet again. Mm-hmm. It's like these things pop up because people are paying attention to it, and then they fade back into the background. Yeah. Because there are tons of train derailments every year. We read 1,600 is normal?
11. 1,100 is normal.
Yeah. So it is a thing, but the fact that so many of these things were holding hazardous materials or chemicals or leaks.
The ones that are specifically hazardous are dealt with very poorly.
So poorly.
And it's almost like they're intentionally showing that they don't care.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's really odd that people don't see that still to this day.
Right.
Like Biden going to Maui and saying, I had a kitchen fire once.
I know. And it's you put these things in people's faces and they're like, what?
Right.
Or they refuse to watch it because they refuse to be wrong. And I'm like, so you would rather not know anything about anything than have to say, oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Right.
Ego ruins everything. Okay, so I guess the whole point of this being with all these different accidents, quote unquote, spills, whatnot, all these things, the whole point would really be to taint our water supply, to further taint the air, to sicken people. I mean, this is how cancers are started and, prolonged. It's just a way to poison us, basically. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at that from that angle, things start to get a little suspicious. Another thing that goes in line with these train derailments and chemical hazardous events are the fact that we have seen so many food plants burn down in the past, I'd say 2 years. Yeah. Super rampant in 2022 as well. But just this year alone, I mean, this is such a list. Is this a normal thing that happens?
That list only goes to April.
This is insane. Okay. So Tavis pulled together this awesome list of food plants that have been burned down, and I'm just seeing it oh my gosh. So there was a dairy plant fire in Portage, Wisconsin, January 2nd, 2023. In Bozrah, Connecticut, there was a fire at Hillendale Farms on January 20th, 2023. Same day, there was a pet food processing facility fire in Anchorage, Alaska. January 31st, 2023, a dehydration and processing pet food plant went ablaze in the Wisconsin Rapids in Wisconsin. Then February 3rd, 2023, there was another fire at the W.E. Akers Crab Meal Seafood Processing Plant in New Brunswick, Canada. February 15th, 2023, Ollie Mel Hog Operations. They had a fire located in Saskatchewan, Canada. In Skowhegan, Maine, on February 21st, Gifford's manufacturing plant was set ablaze. In Dinuba, California, on February 23rd, 2023, Ruiz Foods plant went on fire. And then in March 2023, on the 24th, there was a chocolate factory fire in West Reading, Pennsylvania. A pickle factory fire was set ablaze in New Jersey on March 25th. There was another fire at the Basic American Foods processing plant in Moses Lake, Washington on March 29th. Then on April 10th, a South Fork dairy explosion occurred in DeMitt, Texas. During this explosion, 18,000 cows were killed. It rocked the entire South Fork dairy farm in the Texas Panhandle, making it the deadliest fire involving cows in nearly a decade. But fake meat, right? In Red River Commodities, located in Fargo, North Dakota, on April 12th, there were 2 different fires. And then the last one we have listed here on April 24th, the Tyson Foods hog plant in Madison, Nebraska was up in flames.
Speaking of Tyson Foods.
Oh my gosh. And speaking of cows, well, so here's the thing is they are trying to completely screw over our food resources.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't necessarily want us, and we'll talk about this further too, but they don't want us eating like natural things from the earth.
No.
Natural things we were given by God.
Right.
They don't want us on that because they'd rather manipulate us with their either super unhealthy stuff or things that are genetically modified and can, you know, screw with your body from there. So it's just...
Or just straight chemicals.
Right, which screws with everything. Cancers, I mean, it's so just disgusting. So all these food plants burning down is a really big deal. And I also remember when we kind of talked about agriculture, farming, and everything. And while there were a lot of people reporting that certain farmers get paid off to kill their crop or kill, you know, cattle, kill whatever they have to, you know, in order to kind of like shorten the food supply, like... It's hard to find a yes or no if this is like a conspiracy, if this is actually something that happens for a reason.
There's farmers on both sides saying, yeah, it's true. There's people saying, no, it's not true. Farmers saying, no, it's not true. And then you have other people that are saying, it is true, but not what you think it is. Yeah. And it's just what they always have done, and that's to control the amount of produce and livestock and everything that is pumped into the market so they can control the price of all those things on the market.
But like, how messed up, because I remember even seeing videos, must have been earlier this year, of cows that were just dead on, I don't know if it's the side of the road or on a farm, but just like dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of dead cows. And they said it's excessive heat, but like every year has been just as hot as this year was. So that was very confusing, but it's like you're trying to get rid of all this food. Mm-hmm. And think of the world hunger crisis. Think about all the hungry people out there, and they're like, nah, kill your stuff to make sure the pricing is okay.
Those people just dumping all those potatoes.
Yeah. Yep. And so while we found very like conflicting answers about whether or not farmers are getting paid to sell or kill their product, whatever it may be, I do have family working in California in the agriculture business who have told me time and time again how their government does not support what they do in any sense, whether it's getting enough water to the farm or, you know, like upping their electric bills through solar and like so many things. It's just a mess. Like they don't want farmers being successful, at least in California, but I wouldn't be surprised if that spanned elsewhere for the right dollar.
They want the government-owned farms to be successful, the Bill Gates farms to be successful. Right.
And so I guess we can lead that into here, this next point.
I do have one more thing. Do you remember all the videos of like the Walmart truck drivers just dropping a bunch of food off at like a field or a dump or something like that?
I haven't seen that.
So around that same time that the farmer conspiracy, whatever thing was going around, there was all these videos of Walmart and like other grocery store truck drivers saying that they were being ordered to drop pallets of food off into these dumps.
With like the baby formula.
Yeah.
I remember seeing baby formula. That was a big thing while there was a shortage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts what they're doing to our food. And then they say we have a food crisis. And because of that, what should we do instead? Eat bugs. Why not? They are trying to normalize eating bugs, you guys. If you haven't seen this, I couldn't make it up if I tried. Okay?
Snowpiercer. Go watch Snowpiercer.
Yeah. This is all laid out in these movies and everything. But
that's a good one.
We were just talking about Bill Gates. And one thing that Bill Gates has done a ton in the past... 5 years maybe, shorter time span. I'd have to look up when he started, but He has been buying up so much farmland in America.
Oh, yeah.
So much.
He owns a lot here, and that terrifies me.
Yeah. And so I pulled this from somewhere online saying that Bill Gates has long argued we need to eat less meat. It's one of the reasons why he's bought up so much American farmland and invested in his own lab-created meat companies. Now the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is backing All Things Bugs, a company claiming to be, quote, the world's leading innovator in the insect industry, end quote. They produce Grio Pro cricket powder, which is used for food and beverages, including pasta, baked goods, smoothies, meat extenders, and more.
Disgusting.
Absolutely disgusting. And then I went on to read a couple different sources saying that chefs are also optimistic about the future of us eating bugs. No less than 36% of chefs expect to see a considerable rise in customer demand. Customer demand? Sure.
Yeah,
for
the government,
insect-based proteins.
The government's the customer that wants to buy it.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
Bill Gates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're saying by 2040, they expect to see a ton of demand.
Well, I mean, most of the world's going to be depopulated at that point.
At that point, we're not going to have a choice. Somebody else, let me see, this is from The Guardian. The articles out here talking positively about eating bugs is like the funniest thing I've ever read. So, quote, insect protein is not as sexy as the alternative meat companies, admits Leah Bessa of the South African startup Gourmet Grub. But she feels anyone interested in food security should be looking for multiple solutions. The problem with our agriculture system is that we don't have enough diversity to cater for different climates and landscapes. What's great about insects is that you can farm them anywhere in any environment. They don't destroy land. You can grow them on byproducts of the food industry, and they're full of nutrients. But, she cautions, it has taken the plant-based food movement decades to get to where it is now. If insects can do the same, it will be a big win. So have they been testing us with the vegan and vegetarian stuff all this time?
Probably. So here's my here's my thing. America, the United States specifically, is the best place for agriculture. Mm-hmm. We have every climate. Yeah. Every climate.
Yeah.
You can literally grow anything and everything here.
Yeah.
No. We don't need to eat bugs.
No.
We're fine.
No.
We're fine.
It's
and
ridiculous.
Then if it's the whole United Nations BS where, well, you got to worry about the rest of the world. No, we don't. No. Worrying about the rest of the world's got us where we are right now.
Yeah, we're in trouble. Look how far it's gotten us. Yeah. Freaking hell.
Yeah, Ukraine. That amount of money Ukraine has spent, or that they spent for Ukraine.
Yep.
Could have given, what did they say? Every homeless veteran $4 million cash.
Ridiculous.
Ended homelessness 8 times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But, yeah.
And they're still losing because they're always going to lose to Russia.
Yeah. It's because
it's Russia.
It was never going to be a fight.
No.
There's no possible way for it to be a fight.
And they're lying when they say that Ukraine has skin in the game.
If Russia can go toe-to-toe with us, why would anyone think Ukraine could win
Right. That? Like, what's the size difference?
Right.
Just that alone.
Well, what's scary is Russia and China together.
Yeah.
But I think that's all a facade now, given this Agenda 2030 stuff and Xi Jinping coming to California, to the White House. They're all in it together.
Oh, yeah.
There is no them and us. It's all, let's play war for the masses so they can justify nuking the hell out of all of us.
Yeah. But that's kind of always been my thought, is that they're not going to just completely nuke us like crazy and end the entire world, because that doesn't help them.
No. The cleanup would take too long.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because you're talking nuclear. That's you can't leave your bomb shelter for 50 years.
30 years at least.
So, all of this, it's just...
But who knows? They might have some technology that can clean it up. I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't think they're going to let it get to that point. Anywho, okay. Let's keep going on this bug tyrant right now. Tirade?
Tirade.
Okay, so the other thing that I saw this a while ago about certain ingredients in Tyson foods, and I went back to research it for this episode and realized that everywhere you look online, it shows that Tyson does not, but would like to, use insect proteins in the future. They'll be like, we want to use them, but not yet. Well, y'all, here's the really funny thing about Tyson Foods. And Tyson covers a variety of brands. They're a huge, huge, huge parent company. But on some of their ingredient lists right now, they have the following ingredients listed. Bear with me, as saying these out loud is going to be very difficult. So, first ingredient, Aceta domesticus, also called Griotis sigillatus. All that means is crickets. The next ingredient, Tenbrio molitor, codename for mealworms. And the last one, Locusta migratora. It's code word for grasshoppers. So they are literally putting maybe that's how they get around it with the articles. They're not doing insect protein yet, but they're just putting straight insects in.
How do they put it in the chicken?
They put it in like all their stuff though. That's the thing. It's like Tyson and all the brands that they have underneath them.
Yep.
Yeah. So bugs are coming. You could not pay me enough to substitute meat protein for bugs.
Yeah. How do you get like a steak out of bugs?
I have no idea. No idea. Well, that's the thing.
I'm sure they already have. Well, they're already 3D printing steaks in other places and stuff. So
the thing is that they're like grinding these insects into powders that are like used as proteins into other things.
Yeah.
So it's all going to be artificial, pumped with like bugs. Ugh. Okay. Gross. So food is, a mess as it is, if we even have the supply.
Right.
But then you get into the fact, and this again goes our entire lifespans plus some, the fact that the food industry is so screwed up as well.
Correct.
We have learned so many things through our lives that were just wrong, and they were lying to us on purpose. The big one that I learned about not too long ago was the fact that, here we go. So they teach you like certain myths about health and what to eat and what not to eat. There's a big myth about cholesterol and heart disease and how it's brought on by like fatty foods, like you don't eat butter, don't eat eggs. They say are a big one because of the cholesterol. I saw a post that was like, every egg you eat, you get one step closer to diabetes, when eggs are literally on the top of like every single list that lists like the most nutritious foods you can eat. Eggs are at the top of every single one. But eating eggs, eating protein, eating all that makes us strong, makes our brains healthy, makes us happy. They don't want that. They want us to be eating the Lucky Charms instead, when they say that Lucky Charms is healthier than a steak.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
No, absolutely. I'm not making this up. That's the disgusting
there
part.
was some fat kid that was like, Mom, let's look on the news.
Yeah. And another one you talked about recently was the fact that milk actually makes your bones weaker.
Yeah.
It's so backwards.
We're actually not supposed to ingest cow milk.
Nope. Dairy is not made for human consumption.
It is not.
Our bodies are not okay with lactose.
Correct. Yeah. We should all be lactose intolerant. Yeah.
Yeah, we really should. Messes with everything. You'd be surprised to see like how much your face clears up. Like a lot of people have acne just due to like eating anything dairy because of the hormones in it. It's wild. The FDA has also been approving fake meat patents, which is disgusting. Bill Gates was talking about vaccinating his cattle that he owns with like the COVID vaccine and whatever else.
mRNA.
Yeah, mRNA vaccines. Spread them better to the population. Like, excuse me, now do I have to start looking for vaccines in my meat at the store? Aldi would never. The other crazy... Another crazy fact is that a lot of people leave the U.S., go overseas to other countries, and lose like all kinds of weight on vacation or all kinds of weight from living there for a short period of time because their food is not stacked with crap like ours is.
Yeah, a lot of our foods have things in them that are outlawed in like 90% of the world.
So genetically modified. and just horrible for you.
Yeah,
Horrible.
we're guinea pigs, man. We have been the guinea pigs of the world for a long time.
Yeah. It's really, really bad. So it's really like they're poisoning us through our food. And then when you go out of your way, like Joe Rogan did, to point out that, you know, exercise and eating right and getting enough sun is like all part of a healthy diet and like a healthy lifestyle, and everybody needs to be doing it. And then he's like put on blast for basically like fat shaming people who don't do that. And it's like,
right,
somebody who's morbidly obese, we're not talking like 20, 30 pounds overweight.
We're talking like a ton between us.
Yeah, exactly. Like 300, 400 to 600 pounds. Yeah. There's
Forklift
nothing
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing healthy about that.
Right.
Get those people help.
Lizzo.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, clearly there's something, because at that rate you're medicating yourself with food, or it's an addiction. I mean,
right.
It's not okay, but they're selling it as like, this is the norm. This is what you want to be, fat and beautiful. No, it's called cholesterol problems. It's called diabetes. It's called early onset.
That goes back to the whole woke mob mindset. Right? Is they support everything that leads to death.
Yeah.
They support everything that leads to death.
Yeah.
They support abortion. They support gender affirming care. They support obesity. They support homosexuality. They support all these things that do not equal life in any way.
They just lead to less people, which is,
they lead to less people, which is the depopulation thing.
Yeah. And then if you do become the size of a house, what are the odds that you're going to find a partner and reproduce? And no, you're going to be depressed and at home and continue to eat yourself to death. Like, there's nothing healthy about that.
Right.
And I have sympathy for people who do face those issues, because it can be an addiction. It can be a problem, but like, you have to get help for it. You can't just accept that it's normal, because it's not. There's so much more out there.
Well, all that is having the willpower to actually seek help.
So another thing that leads into is Big Pharma. Talk about one organization that is out to just end our whole civilization.
Yeah.
Like, they're trying to get everybody on something all the time. Yeah. All the time. I mean, the amount of antidepressants that are out in the world now. I knew so many kids going to college who had issues with, what's the one I'm spacing on? The downer. Xanax.
Oh, Xanax. Yeah.
Huge bars. I mean, kids were being sent home from college because they had these addictions, because we knew people who would get them like 5,000 pills at a time. That's insanity that even happened. So everybody's
sounds like a good weekend to me. I'm just kidding. Don't do drugs.
A lot of people would say that, which
unless
is really sad.
Unless it grows in the ground.
Yeah. Well, the one thing they also don't tell you, unless you've been on them, because I have been prescribed Klonopins in the past, which is basically like Xanax, is that if you drink on them, you die.
Yeah.
It is like the antidepressant part of it slows down your heart rate so much, you're done.
Yeah.
And yet people party on them all the time.
When I was like 21.
Yeah. No one knows. They don't advertise it like that. No. The other thing that's really ridiculous is how much they prescribe like Adderall, Ritalin, all that to little boys. I've seen recently.
How are you?
Yeah, you had experience. I know. I was reading that little boys with their testosterone levels at young ages, they're so high that like the best thing for kids to do, little boys specifically, is to just be outside, running around. They're supposed to be doing sports. They're supposed to be kicking the ball around.
Right.
Activity does so much for them.
Right.
But instead, they're like, oh, these little boys don't have like any kind of will to concentrate. They won't calm down. They're just wild. They must have ADD or ADHD. Let's get them on pills and stick them in a classroom and just make them mindless. And now you have this like whole group of little boys, generation of boys, who are just on these pills for what?
Right.
Because they were little boys at one point?
Right. Yeah. Hi.
Yeah. And how did it work out for you? The pills didn't work, did they? No.
No, not at all.
No.
Made me feel like a tweaker.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, and they do. And I was on Adderall up until when did I jump off of it? Like 3-4 months ago?
Something like that.
Yeah, because I was just like, I don't want to do big pharma anymore. Like, let's get off as much as possible. And honestly, like, just taking normal supplements coming from the earth, I feel like I have that same amount of energy and focus, but not the jittery, like I'm on crack kind of feeling. So
some people like that though.
Well, people get addicted to that. And that's another issue with
$20 a pop. Hit us up.
Yeah. Another thing that goes into this whole prescription drug realm is the fact that the US and New Zealand are the only countries in the world that allow advertising for prescription drugs.
Yeah, by big pharma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we see these advertisements and go, ooh, what is that? I'm going to go ask my doctor about it. And you go and ask your doctor. And what I learned from somebody who was working in big pharma sales for a very, very long time, like big pharmaceutical companies they were working for, he said that so many different prescription drugs are peddled to these doctors, too many to where the doctors will never know what each one is. They can't speak to them fully enough. But they get certain payouts if they prescribe them.
Correct, yeah.
So they're prescribing drugs to people who don't
Based on
really
their
need
cut.
them. Yeah. Or shouldn't be on them because they don't know, but they know the payout's good. And I mean, money, you guys, as much as we want to think that every doctor is there to help you, they're not.
Majority aren't.
Yeah. There's so much money involved with pharmaceuticals. So like that's a huge mess. The fact that natural remedies are just absolutely torn apart, especially by big pharma. They're always
any holistic healing of anything. Yeah.
I mean, like marijuana for one. They have a patent on it.
Yeah.
The US government has a patent on THC.
Yeah.
But it's so bad that we need to be using synthetic marijuanas instead.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Well, and that's the thing too. So that's why they outlawed psilocybin mushrooms and LSD in the late 60s. A lot of professors and engineers and a bunch of really prominent people were using them to have breakthroughs on problems that they were trying to solve or things that they were trying to figure out for a long time, and they just hit a dead-end wall. But basically, it's anything that's natural. Well, LSD is not natural, that's chemical, but the psilocybin was. Anything that's natural that can help, they completely get rid of. Now, you saw that they're doing studies in Colorado with psilocybin dosages for cancer patients. So people that are dealing with the trauma and everything of going through cancer, they'll do a psilocybin therapy session with these candidates, and these candidates have so much peace afterwards.
I just think that everything we need to survive
Is
in this life
on the planet.
It's been given to us by the earth, by God. Like, it's all here.
Correct. Yeah.
They talk. Big Pharma will try to talk down even like CBD. There could not be a less dangerous substance in the world than CBD.
Well, and how do they all explain the fact that our brain has receptors built specifically for cannabis?
Cannabinoids. Yeah. They're meant to be, and it helps so much, but it's just hilarious. You know, a lot of states, you can't even mumble the word weed without it being a big deal. And yet you can drive through any liquor store and buy a friggin' 40 rack of...
And slowly kill yourself with the drink.
Yeah, and it's glorified. It's just insane. So there's all of that. Big Pharma is all about creating patients for life. They don't actually want to fix anything. Don't get it twisted, everybody.
Can you imagine if there was marijuana commercials on TV? Like there's beer commercials?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Well, and the fact that we think it is so... what's the word I'm looking for?
Risque, taboo.
Taboo.
Yeah.
Taboo. The fact that weed is still so taboo.
I don't think it is. I think it is, but it isn't.
Yeah. No. I know what you mean.
I think...
Behind closed doors, it's not.
I think the consensus among people is it is what it is, whatever. Like, even my folks who don't smoke, but they're like, I don't care. You know, it's the same as alcohol to us.
Right.
You know, as far as the level of
Except
things.
weed doesn't kill
people.
But
it's not.
No, it's not. It's not.
Right.
Another big one that they really push is birth control. I can tell you, I've been on it for a very long time. And it's one of those things that I feel like, I don't know if it's necessary or not, but like it really screws you up. And it says, well, it lessens these symptoms, these side effects. You're not going to get cramps as much, yada, yada, yada. If you're just going on it, if you're not sexually active, and you just want your periods to be better, just get on birth control. Mm-hmm. It's like pumping your body full of these synthetic new hormones that aren't real and just completely overriding everything so that like your brain is not talking to your body in that capacity anymore. Like you're no longer ovulating. When you really think about it, it stresses me out. I'm like, what's it going to be like when we are having kids? Like there's a lot of people who say they are different after the fact when they come off of it. That's wild. Like they look at their partner differently. They don't smell the same. Yeah. Like absolutely insane.
You're stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I can't leave. No matter what I think. I'll get back to you all on that. No.
Ball and chain.
And then, of course, obvious fact that they had us wearing masks. Well, tried to have us wearing masks for like 3 years. And now there's this big old outbreak of pneumonia this year. I wonder why that is. Yeah. And I had a friend who was in the hospital for 2 days recently. And she's like, but I didn't get the vax and I like refused to mask throughout COVID, but I still got pneumonia. And I was like, well, yeah, because think of all the people who did get vaxxed, who did mask all that time. That's a much bigger population now who's going to get infected with it because their immune systems suck. Right. And so that rate of spreading it to even the most healthy people is going to go up because the population of people getting it is just higher. Right. So like now we're going to be the victims of other people handling their health.
Yeah, and they're going to blame the unvaccinated and then mandate more vaccines.
Which I will gladly not take again. Hashtag pure blood. To then flip over to a different topic that's definitely different, but definitely just as harmful. Let's talk about the whole electric versus gas debate amongst politicians. Everything's Biden does. He's destroyed our gas resources, shutting down the pipelines. Keystone that was a big one, right? Yeah. And then they are making efforts, like every day.
That killed like 25,000 jobs too with him.
Oh, yeah.
It down.
Oh, yeah.
Killed 25,000 jobs and made us dependent on other countries again for our oil. Because we were self-sufficient.
Yep.
As a country.
Yep. Couldn't have that for very long.
He has closed that down and depleted a massive chunk of our reserves.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's all on purpose because they want vehicles down to like 1 car per household by 2025 or something like that in certain areas.
Well, and then they talked about the Environmental Protection Agency proposed new emission standards that would effectively require 67.5% of U.S. vehicle sales to be electric by the year 2032. Dealers are making significant electric vehicle investments and are essential to advancing this transportation transformation. However, despite federal incentives, new vehicle buyers are not purchasing EVs in the quantities necessary for automakers to meet those requirements. So they're going to start pulling out a lot of stops here to try and trick people into getting electric vehicles.
Well, they're going to do that, and they're also going to change regulations and policies and stuff so where you can't buy a new vehicle. And then there's that other part where they're going to have a kill switch in every vehicle by 2026.
To help avoid drunk driving accidents.
I don't drink. Why are you putting a drunk driving thing in my car?
Right. We have like 1 beer in our house a week.
If that.
And then walk all the way to the couch.
No, sometimes it's like
at most.
Like once a month, maybe.
So let's all be penalized for that.
Yeah.
And then they said that half of all new vehicles sold in 2030 need to be electric vehicles.
Correct.
The 50% target, which is not legally binding, won the support of U.S. and foreign automakers, which said that achieving it would require billions of dollars in government funding.
Correct.
Who's going to be paying for that?
Us.
Bing, bing, bing.
Yay.
Oh my gosh. And then to make it worse, Ford, their trucks, their semis, they recently unveiled their 100% electric truck support. They said 50% of sales to Europe will be zero emissions by 2030. Ford Trucks unveiled its first all-new 100% electric truck, making giant strides towards a sustainable future for heavy commercial vehicles. So they're preaching that by 2030, they're going to be 100% electric for all of their semis.
Yeah, well, they're not even mentioning the fact that it destroys the planet way more to dig for the materials for lithium-ion batteries than to actually drill for oil.
Yep.
But let's just forget about that part.
It's fine.
Let's also forget about the part that Hunter Biden has a 3% stake in BHR, who owns CATL, who is the largest manufacturer of electric vehicle batteries in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that because we're now low on oil, we're gonna we have been taking from places like Iran,
and which is why Biden's always
Hamas.
pushing the electric vehicles. Yeah.
And then Nancy and Paul Pelosi are gonna start putting their money on Tesla right before they put this new stuff into effect in terms of everybody need to own an electric vehicle. So they'll make more money in the deal. Don't worry about
still
that.
in office?
Has she died yet?
No.
It's time,
unfortunately.
Nancy. Go.
I saw a picture of her today wearing a mask walking in and it says, "Look, the virus is wearing a mask."
I hate Nancy Pelosi.
I think everybody does.
Oh my gosh.
I think even her constituents do. Easter egg time.
Easter egg time.
Easter egg time.
It's
Easter egg time. Yeah. All right. Anyway. All right. So this is the promo code for the shop. If you haven't been to the shop, go check it out, man. We put a lot of time and effort into it.
So
we designed every single thing that you see on there, every design that you see that we did. We did use a little bit of AI, but we made it 100% our own.
So much blood, sweat, and tears.
So much blood, sweat, and tears.
And just being like, nope, I don't like that.
Hair pulling out.
Why don't you like it? I don't know.
Yeah. So the code is going to be Merry Xmas, all caps, and it's going to be 25% off because Christmas is on the 25th.
Woo-hoo.
And so we just want to spread some holiday cheer. It's going to be off of everything in the store. So, yeah, Merry Xmas, all caps. We'll probably run it until Christmas.
Yeah, sounds about right. I don't believe that right now things are going to ship in time for Christmas. I'm not 100% sure, but definitely check that. Great gifts, though. I mean, shoot. So go check out the store. It is untetheredmindsmedia.com/store.
Yeah.
We'll put that link in the description going forward so you can access it there as well.
Promo code Merry Xmas, all caps.
All right. The last and final thing that we want to discuss about how they are literally killing us, mind, body, and spirit.
Hey, buy our merch. Back to how they're killing us.
That's just the vibe of the podcast. Last episode, at one point I was like, this is an end of the world podcast.
Yeah.
But I think this point in this subject will ring true to literally everybody, unless you're a billionaire, which I don't know how many of those we have listening.
Right.
But can we just talk about the cost of living?
If there are any billionaires listening, if you want to be an angel investor, we got you.
We love that you have money. But to all of us plebeians,
well, I don't even want to do it for the money. I just want to do it because I want to do this for a living.
That's the thing. To spread it more.
This for a living.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it would make cost of living a lot easier.
Yeah, well, that would be nice. Yeah.
Honestly, they are just bleeding us dry of every penny, everything.
Yeah.
It's
to move towards crypto.
Right. But the rates of inflation for the past few years have not been keeping up with wage earnings and promotions and whatnot within jobs. Mm-hmm. People are broke. They're desperate for housing. I mean, apartments are like just as expensive as homes.
Yeah.
If not more in some areas. Yeah. It's really bad. The interest rates, I know there's a lot of beef with interest rates, but somebody explained to me this concept recently of Jerome Powell having to put the interest rate so high to dissuade investors.
Correct.
Because investors were buying up a ton of property and pushing prices like astronomical.
Yes.
Because they're renting them back out.
That doesn't really work because investors usually pay cash. So the percentage doesn't really matter.
Yes and no, though.
What do you mean?
Paying cash.
Yeah.
Just because of my job. I know a lot. Investors? Yeah. A lot of it is mortgaged.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, when I was in the market,
No.
everyone was paying cash.
A lot of these investors are coming in from different places, or they do come with cash, and they're outbidding everybody for the homes.
Yeah, because they have cash.
Right.
And cash talks. So even
Yeah.
if people are saying, "I'll give you $480,000 for the house," but someone's like, "I'll give you $450 cash," they'll take the $450
Done.
cash.
Exactly. So that, and just the fact that they're buying these houses and then renting them out for ridiculous prices too. Mm-hmm. So it's a big ol' mess right now. This is from World Population Review. The average asking rent is now $1,900 with single family houses averaging $2,018 a month. Mm-hmm. A typical apartment costs about $1,659. I paid $600 in college.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I mean, it was like a 1 bedroom out of 3, but I had a walk-in closet. I had my own bathroom.
I was 18.
It was right next to campus.
I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment.
And that was including utilities.
I had one roommate, and we split $600 a month.
Yeah. I know we're probably aging ourselves. But my first apartment was like 2014.
Mine was 2004.
$600 a month. That 10-year difference. But to see from, I mean, not even 10 years that rent has gone up like times 6.
Right. It's gone up 3 times.
Well, I'm not a math major, so I have a degree in English, everyone. Despite the level of wage growth reaching 6.7% in the summer of 2022, it has not been enough to curb the impact of even higher inflation rates. The federally mandated minimum wage in the United States has not increased since 2009, meaning that individuals working minimum wage jobs have taken a real pay cut for the last 12 years. There are discrepancies between states and their minimum wages. In California, it can be as high as $15.50 an hour, while a business in Oklahoma may be as low as $2 per hour.
Yeah.
That's nuts. However, even the higher wage rates in states like California and Washington may be lacking. One analysis found that if minimum wage had kept up with productivity, the minimum hourly wage in the U.S. should have been $22.88 per hour by 2021. And we're just nowhere near that. And like, not that I think that, you know, minimum wage, like fast food workers should be living the high life, like making $100,000 a year. But if you can't afford to live in like a studio apartment and drive like at least a little beater car, and buy groceries and buy gas at the same time, like you should be able to do all those things. Those are all components of leading a life, not even like a successful life.
No, just living a life.
Yeah. And
surviving.
I know so many people who are just struggling to do that.
Yeah.
Grocery prices. Oh my gosh. I could go on about this forever. But while food prices generally increase about 2% every year, they have increased 11% from 2021 to 2022. And then in 2022, food prices increased by 9.9%. The food at home prices, so anything you get from the grocery store, went up by 11.4%, while takeout food away from the home prices increased by 7.7%. This all came from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And then from the last year, 2022 to 2023, there was a 3.7% rise. So it's just keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I refuse to shop at like Fry's or Safeway for all of our groceries because I know the bill is going to be like $400 or $500 for a week's worth of dinner and like restocking things that we usually have around the house. And that's so insane.
Right. When it doesn't have to be.
No.
Right.
I mean, the stuff that they just gouge you on it, you know, I've found.
But that all goes back to the bankers controlling the market.
Right.
Like no inflation has ever happened just because of a horrible president or anything else. It's all intentional.
It is.
It's all intentional. It's all on purpose. It's all to control the market.
It is. Absolutely. And that's kind of getting me to like our end point here. Everything that we've talked about so far, what is it all leading to? Like, why are all these things happening? It's because they want us to be in a position where we're screwed. And if we don't do what the government tells us because of, you know, the global warming and the fact that the housing market is so high and the food costs this much and electric vehicles, all this stuff, like they want us to look like there's no end in sight and that we need to go along with their Agenda 2030 in order to get to a better place.
They want to be viewed as the saviors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just listen to us. We're the government. We got you.
They have to create the disaster to save you from.
Yeah. Wasn't it Reagan? His quote?
Yeah, Reagan's quote. The 7 most dangerous things in the U.S. language.
Most dangerous words.
Or most dangerous words in the American
English language.
English, whatever. Anyway, the quote was, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." Those are the most dangerous words in the English language. Yeah. American language.
Well, you have to take it from our man Reagan there. He's right. You don't run to the government for help. The whole point is that they're there to regulate certain things in order to make us successful. Mm-hmm. But it's up to us to find that success. Right. That's always been how it is. The American dream is something you work for. Government. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. The government is just supposed to be there to keep the roads, keep the lights on and keep the roads good. Exactly. That's it. Exactly. Exactly. But they are trying to impede in our lives in every possible way imaginable. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are letting them. Right. Because it's easier. Oh, I'm scared. The world's ending. There's so many things going on, but the government says they're going to help. Right. Let me lean on them. That seems like a good idea.
But they're destroying everything. That's the whole point of Build Back Better.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You can't build back until you destroy. Mm-hmm. What are you building back from if it's still there?
Right. Right.
No, they're building it back because they're going to destroy it all. They're going to completely tear it down. It's that great reset that they all keep talking about. Yep. It's financially, it's agriculture, it's everything. And they're all going to be pushing it in the name of climate change and all this other crap.
Yep.
That it's unsustainable. Do you know if you grouped up all the people on the planet and then you put them all in one area, it would show you how much land isn't touched?
Oh, yeah.
They're the world is overpopulated. The world could get 4 or 5 times more populated than it is now, and there's still going to be people that have tons of land available.
And we have the resources. They don't want you to think we have the resources, but we
have the resources.
We do.
It's just we're getting too big to control.
Yes. Yep. That's the thing.
We're getting too big to control.
Yep. And I mean, now it's so expensive to raise children. So I see so many, especially my generation, we're about to hit 30, is that this is our time to be doing it. To start the family. But how many millennials can say they're making enough to support kids? Right. Yeah. It's hard enough to live your life and have a clunker car.
Some of us millennials are reaching our 40s. So.
Sorry, I'm on the low end. He's on the high end of the millennials, the later end. Yeah. But you got in at just about the right time. You were able to get the house.
Yeah.
You were able to, you have had a child earlier on when it wasn't as bad financially. So getting through those beginning stages of buying diapers, buying formula and all that, I'm sure it wasn't fun and it hurt in certain ways, but doing it now is just that much harder. Yeah. So it's very tough. I'm glad I found a man with a home, put it that way. A homeowner. Woo. Because I live with my parents.
I just needed a plug-and-play wife,
Yeah, exactly. You needed somebody to make a podcast with, someone who had the editing and production skills already built in.
She gave me her resume on the first date, and I was like, okay, here's your ring. Let's go.
And you saw me perform in the escape room. Yeah. And you're like, okay, she's smart enough. Mm-hmm. Okay, she could probably hold the fort down with me. It could work. It could work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't like each other at all.
No.
Well, on that note, thank you for tuning into this part 1. I know it was a big information dump, but your brains should be like, whoa, they're onto something here.
Yeah.
If it's not, re-listen.
That's just laying the groundwork for the rest of the series.
That's just laying out what's happening. That's
what's
not
happened
even...
and is happening currently.
Yes. That's not the future. That's not actually... Yeah. I mean, and we still haven't covered stuff. So, episode 2, we will have out, I'm not going to give it a timeline, but we'll have it out soon enough. Mm-hmm. We will be chatting with our friend and another creator in the space, Spencer from Florida.
Mm-hmm. Spencer Barr.
Yeah. Super, super knowledgeable in so much. I mean, 2030, we were talking about Maui with him originally. Right? It was him that we were talking about, right?
Yeah, we were going to go over the Maui stuff with him, but after I talked to him on the phone for like a couple hours, I was like, okay, you got to be part of the 2030 thing instead.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to have him on, and it's going to be, like, I don't want to give out too much.
Like manufactured weather vibes.
Yeah. So
DEW
DEWs, controlled weather, those types of things. Basically, how they plan on getting their way.
Right. Yep. So that'll be next, and then from there, you will see. Yeah. This is going to be a lot of info, a lot of mind-blowing stuff, but y'all, this is the one.
Before that, we'll probably be at the America Fest, and we'll be live streaming from there before episode 2 comes out.
Oh, yeah.
So lots of content coming your way, lots of content. Podcasts, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter.
Threads.
Now.
Tavis is now on Threads. Yeah. I say Tavis is on Threads because I can't. The way we work as a couple is I do all the friendly, oh my gosh, we love your show kind of interactions. Yeah. I do the warm and fuzzies, and then Tavis does the conflicts until they start talking about our marriage and what kind of woman he's married to for being such a misogynist. And I'm like, here's the wife. Hello. And then we double whammy them. It's great.
Well, I mean, some of them might like it, being tag teamed.
Yeah. Oh, no. All right. On that note, make sure you are following us on our socials, TikTok. We're losing our minds. It's that time of the episode. Follow us on socials. I will put those all down in the description box for you, as well as a link to our website. So go get you some merch. Go get your liberal family some merch. Or just show them what's up on Christmas. Like Pure Blood hoodie. Oh, I know a lot of people that piss off.
I was going to say, I don't know if you want to waste that on a liberal family member. It's too good. It's too good. Just sport it around your family member. Yes, I was going to say,
just model it around in the whole day.
Family member.
Oh, did you see my hoodie?
Oh, only two genders.
All right.
That's kind of like that lady that was arguing with me on Threads. Like, well, how do you explain the animals in the animal kingdom that mate homosexually and stuff? And I was like, did you just compare queer people to animals that eat their own feces and vomit? What? You don't think highly of queer people, do you? Yeah, they don't like when their things are turned against them.
No. Well, if they don't talk out of their woohoos.
Well, they're all NPCs. They're running the same scripts. You know how many times I've seen the same memes from different accounts, like throughout Threads? It's bad. Threads is a cesspool, just like everything else.
So go get involved and argue with people in Tavis.
Yeah, we do have a Twitter. We're just never on there anymore.
No. I don't like
it. Ironically, I left because it was a cesspool.
I know.
And now it's Threads.
If not worse. I think Twitter has just been tainted. And now that it's X, it's like, ugh, I don't know. It's just not the same. It's not the same.
No, it's not.
No. On that note, I think it's time we shut this one down. All right?
Thank you guys once again for coming and listening. Yep. We truly appreciate it. Once again, thank you so much for all the love, support that you've shown us online, on socials, in the shop. We really
in our reviews,
appreciate it. Yeah.
We get such great reviews too. Yeah. Those make our
That's
day.
the best part.
Write a review on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Spotify or Apple Music or
those
wherever,
are the best. Yeah,
those are great. Those are the things that warm our hearts.
I love when people write reviews because I'm like, no one writes reviews anymore. That's so sweet.
I know.
Yeah. All right. See y'all in the next one.
Stay
and
safe.
On socials in the meantime. Stay safe. Pray to God. Love thy neighbor. All right. Bye.
Bye.